Dear beloved saints, chapter 9 begins with the fifth angel blowing his trumpet and a star out of heaven falling down on earth. This fallen star was given a key to the shaft of the abyss, and the fallen star used the key to open the shaft. A smoke like that from a great furnace went up out of the open shaft. The sun was darkened as well as the air by the smoke. Then locusts came forth out of the smoke. The locusts came upon the earth, and they received an authority like the scorpions of the earth to sting. They were told not to harm the grass, nor any greenery, nor any tree except men. Locusts were told to harm people who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads. Locusts were not allowed to kill men, but to torment them like when a scorpion strikes. Men will seek death and will desire to die, but death flees from them. The locusts appear like horses prepared for war. They were wearing a crown of gold on their head, and their faces looked like that of a man. Locusts also had long hair like that of a woman, and their teeth were like that of a lion. Locusts wore iron-blessed plates on their chest, and the sound of their wings were like many chariots of horses running into battle. The locusts had tails, and they will sting like that of scorpions. They were given an authority to harm men for 5 months. There was a king over the locusts, who is an angel of the abyss. Locust's king's name in Hebrew is Abaddon, which means destruction, and in Greek is Apollyon, which means a destroyer. The king of the locusts is Satan, who is also called the devil. Some theologians say the locusts are military helicopters or fighter jets. I, however, believe them to be the spirits of Nephilims. During the time of Noah in the book of Genesis, fallen angels had sexual relationship with women and gave birth to thousands, perhaps millions of offsprings called Nephilims. They were hybrid souls of half human and half fallen angel. Because their stature was big, King James Version and other translations refer to them as giants. I believe Satan will unleash the Nephilims in the last days to inflict unbearable physical pain upon the unbelievers throughout the world. God will allow this to happen for the unbelievers to repent. However, many of them will think of this only as a side effect of nuclear bombing that took place upon 1/3 of the world, which I believe will be limited to Muslim and communist nations and not upon the United States, Israel, and other Christian nations. Revelation chapter 9, verse 12 says, "The first woe passed, but 2 woes have yet to come." The sixth angel now blew his trumpet, and John heard a voice from the 4 horns of the square golden altar in heaven in front of God the Father's throne. The voice from the 4 horns of the altar said to the sixth angel, "Release the 4 angels bound at the Euphrates River." The 4 fallen angels were released, and they prepared to kill 1/3 of the men in a great war. John heard 200 million troops of cavalry soldiers. John then saw the horses in a vision with men riding on the horses. The horses had fiery blessed plates. They were in blue and yellow colors with their heads like the heads of a lion. Fire and smoke and sulfur came out of their mouths. 1/3 of the men in the war were killed by the fire, smoke, and the sulfur which came out of the mouths of these iron horses. The authority to kill were in the mouth and tail of these horses, because their tails are like serpents having heads that kill men. The rest of the men who were not killed by the war and not sealed from God on their foreheads did not repent of their sins. They continue in their worship of demons and the idols of gold, silver, bronze, stone, and wood. The unbelievers also did not repent of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their sexual immorality, nor of their debts. World War III, which began with the nuclear bombing upon 1/3 of the world, will continue and kill 1/3 of the 200 million soldiers. The tanks and other military arsenals like drones and even robots will perhaps play a major role in this World War III. In my opinion, this war, which began in chapter 8 between the forces of the communist and Muslim nations against those of the United States, Israel, and other Christian nations, will kill soldiers mostly from the communist and Muslim nations. This brings us to the end of chapter 9.